sure that we all have a voice and we've got something to say about what's going on, not just in Preston, not just in Manchester, but across the UK and the rest of the world. Wow. Again, they call it winging it, so we just go with the... so bear with us, like you were all new to this, and I'm going to reach out to you again and say, anyone who has something to say, the reason why you came here, please come up behind us. There's many from the team, because we've created a Black Lives Matter in Preston. So if you've got anything to say, don't be shy. We're here to support you, and we can all stand and rise against this all together. I'm the co-founder of Preston Windrush Generation and Descendants UK. I've been doing it for 12 months, and I didn't realise that I was part of that generation, what they call now the descendants, because I'm old. I'm like over 55, nearly 60. But what really endears me is all you young people. You're my children's age, and all of you coming here with your parents, coming here by yourself to stand in solidarity with the Black Lives of Preston and Lancashire. And I think that's what is more unique about us today in our community. We started Preston Windrush last year because Sakina, who's 34, was told she wasn't British, was born here, and that's why we started the campaign. I'm very nervous, very emotional. Again, it feels like you're on your own. So I understand how coming out to demonstrate, to gather and share your concerns, the challenges that you're having, even in these health situations regarding the coronavirus. And I think not many of you believe what's going on, so that's why you're here as well. So we appreciate that you keep your distance. We'll try and remember to clean the mic. And anyone who's next to speak while I introduce, and let's get this on the road. Okay, thank you. I'm going to introduce you to Adam Dupuy. Just share who you are, why you've come, and bear in mind this is to do with...
It's a pleasure being here, although it's not the right circumstance. I want to thank you all for being here. My name is Adam Dupuy, and I'm from the island of Dominica. Do you guys know where Dominica is? Absolutely. We're here today, guys. I want to thank you all for being here, and we are not here to celebrate just all Black Lives Matter, but when I decided to, participate in this event today, what I planned to speak about, I've changed it, absolutely. And I'll tell you why I've changed it. We are here because we all have our own issues, our own concerns with what's going on and all that. We know what propelled this event. But today, I can see more other whites, other blacks, sorry, than blacks in here. And I want to thank you for being here. And that's why I wanted to say as well, let's not call it Black Lives Matter, but All Lives Matter. Because every one of us standing in here today, every one of us, doesn't matter which color you are, who you are concerned, and not just for yourself at all, alone. But what about our kids? Hence, I decided to have us think a little bit and go back some time. This, what is happening today in America, in the world, it is not the first time it happened.
Start sharing this.
It is not the first time. History definitely has a lot of precedence. And today, if I may, because it's going to raise our consciousness a little bit more. It's not just a campaign for ourselves, but what about our children? Let me just remind you, if I may. We all talk about Dr. Martin Luther King, ain't we? We all talk about his dream. But in reality, let's look at it. His dream, or the preach, the sermon, it's turned. It's not the same thing. Because today we are here because he said he hoped that his children would not be judged by the color of their skin, neither by the color, but by the contents of the character. Is that the reason we're here today? Because we're celebrating that the world is peaceful and everybody's enjoying life? No. Let's go back a little bit further back in time. In the 1400s, I have to take you guys back a little bit in the days of King Borgia and the Pope and all that. Remember, Islam, Muslims had their share back in the days fighting because of what they believed, not just because of the color of the skin. That as well is part of the whole racist movement. So, today we are calling on you guys to go back in time for the purpose of your children, your grandchildren, and for future generations. I do not condone the violence. The violence is just, it breeds more violence. Is that what we're here for today? I mean, is that what we're honestly here for today? We're asking for peace. We're not somebody else. Black people, white people, blue people. You take a white egg and you take a brown egg. You break them, put them in one plate. What do you see? A yolk and argument, nothing else. Send this message around the world that people, our consciousness has to arise. Just go back a little bit more. We didn't have the United Nations. We had the League of Nations back in the days. I feel it's like today. I know most of you might be wondering, what is he talking about? But I have been there. I've read about it. I know about it. And that is part of the reason that we are here. When His Imperial Majesty, no, I'm not a Rastaman. I'm not talking about Rastaman. I'm talking about the Emperor of Ethiopia. When he convened a meeting at the League of Nations and he says, you know it to the Baba, it's all about peace. Until, you know that song? Yeah? Absolutely. We all know it. That's part of it. He spoke about it. If we don't give each other what we deserve, which is just equality, peace, love. If you respect me, if you respect you. I'm not here teaching you guys anything today. Absolutely not. I'm just here to pass a message of love. Just love. Just unity. Absolutely unity. Don't stay silent. No. Don't stay silent. No, absolutely not. Whether you support Manchester United and your wife support Liverpool, no, don't say. No, it's football. I'm a Liverpool fan, that's why I'm saying that. Well, we are champions, by the way. I hope so. Just to dampen the mood a little bit. But on a serious note, guys, standing here as a black person, can you see? Yeah? I don't feel black. I feel I'm human, just like you, just like everybody else. Most of my best friends, I can say that today, most of my best friends around the world are white people. So why should I hate a white person because I don't know him? Let's love one another. Because God is love, and everyone that loveth is born of God. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much. I know it's going to be speaking again later. Wow, thank you. Anybody else who's come here would like to speak? Give her a round of applause, please.
Hi, I'm Emily. I study I want to say that I'm here to stand with everyone here, basically. I didn't come here to be celebrated or to be applauded, though I may be applauded. And it's overwhelming now to be here and see every single person of every different race in Preston and near Burnley, which is where I'm from. And growing up, I was surrounded by people of different colours everywhere. Say a lot, don't I? And I lived in a majority Muslim community, and in primary school, I remember I was about 4 or 5, and I said something disgusting. I was racist. And I remember a lesson that I was taught by my teacher. He said, no matter what your skin colour is, what blood do you bleed? Red. And it's a very simplistic lesson that I learned at that age, at 4, 5 or 6. And it's a powerful one, and I think we all know what it means. I don't want to say much because I think people have so many better points to say. And yeah, well done for being here and speaking up and using your voice for Black Lives Matter.
Thank you very much. Thank you. Anybody else? Yes? Oh, we started now.
Hi, I'm Heather. I'm not much of a public speaker, so forgive me. But I've wrote a poem. I'm not saying erase history. I'm saying teach it properly in all its misery. The truth behind British legacy, ideas and policies left through slavery, why the police look at us distrustfully, why we get murdered in their custody, why the Wimbush scandal happened, why my hair is encouraged to be flattened. You'll protect a lump of metal from being defaced, but not for your siblings from the same human race. It's not us saying... It's not us saying erase. We know the racism in which we were raised, yet you still ask me where I'm from. You assume somewhere exotic, not the northwest, which is grey and gothic. Where are my ancestors from? Now that's a real question. Because they had their culture stripped away, and now I have to pay to test my DNA to reclaim what was taken from them and me, when they were chained and dragged across the sea. All lives should matter, but first oppression first we have to shatter. I'm not saying erase history, I'm just saying teach it properly. Thank you.
What's the name?
You sure? That is brilliant. Please.
What's the name?
We want them. Yes,
Heather.
that has to be shared. Has to. Thank you. Wow. Wow. Yes, you want to go first. I'm this lady first.
Yeah, absolutely. Go for it.
Introduce yourself.
Hi, I'm Vicky. I'm a school teacher, and quite a few years ago I saw racism in Preston Police. At that time, I was shocked. I don't want to go into it, but I was absolutely shocked. And then I went to do a postgrad in law. Leslie Thomas QC always made a poignant statement: do right and fear no one. Because educate, not ignore. Because as teachers, we are on the front line. What is the point? Respiration, photosynthesis. We are all on this planet together. And it was quite surprising. I studied biology, We all came from the same primordial soup. None of us are better than anyone else. So the way I look at it,
Keep going, keep going, keep going.
whatever is happening in London, look at us today. We are peaceful. All our hearts beat as one. Now, if anybody out there can stand up and say that they're better than anybody else, well, the person up there will judge them. So what I want to do is start speaking to teachers and say, right, what can we do in the classroom? Because it's what happens in the classroom and at home that we can all move forward. It's not about money, it's about education, not ignorance.
Go on. Thank you, Vicky. Thank you. Where's Alan?
Yeah.
Oh shit.
Bear with me.
Good afternoon, everybody. My
This is
name
whilst they clean the microphone.
My father is Somali, he's black. My mother is French, she's white. I was born in Liverpool and brought to here in this amazing city.
He's Scouse. He's Scouse.
Okay, I think, first of all, I want to make it absolutely clear that for me, this is about Black Lives Matter. Don't get me wrong, of course all lives matter. But right now, we need to focus. And I want to give a couple of stories, but before I do, the thing that's resonated with me more than any other time in my life, having experienced so much racism and being party to so many people experience.
Keep going, keep going.
The one difference is that it's the first time that I've seen people really stand up and really come out and really support each other together. I've never seen so many white people actually stand up on behalf of racism. And I was watching the news a few days ago, and there's a black man called Benjamin Zephaniah. He's an extremely articulate poet and writer, and he was talking about his experiences. And I can tell you that every black person here, every mixed race person here has had so many experiences. There's a man to my left here, Bradley, that we've grown up together. He's been posting his experiences on Facebook regularly, and it's still just a tip of the iceberg. That's what it's really been like. But Benjamin Zephaniah, when I watched him, for a moment I was really sad because he started off his conversation and interview by explaining that he was tired. He was tired of the fact that we're just going through the same thing over and over again. And I was quite distraught about that because I thought, if that guy's tired, then what hope do we have? But you know the hope that he gave me, and the hope that I've seen, it's you people here. It's the people that I've seen demonstrated in London and in Leeds and in Sheffield. It's the people that have all decided to finally stand up together. And if all we ever did from this this moment on, if all we ever did was say to any single person who expressed any racist view, no, that's not acceptable, that's the way we'll stop racism, that's the way we'll start seeing change. I just want to say one final thing, and it's a political thing. I think that we need to see a policy change. And my view on policy change is that we need to follow the lead of America, and we need to have what's called affirmative action. We need to allow people, black people, mixed race, Asian people, black and minority ethnic people, the opportunity to be able to progress in life by giving them chances in work, chances at school, and that's the way we'll truly change things. Because then we will have role models that we can look up to. Instead, what we're doing, we are continuously being victimised by this institutional racism, and until we have some form of policy, nothing's going to change. Thanks again, everybody, for coming here. I think you're amazing.
Thank you. anybody wants to speak, please come forward and just go behind me, all right?
Good afternoon, everybody. When Glenda invited me to speak this morning, I was honoured, and at the very same time, I was nervous. Honoured because she felt that it was important for a Muslim voice to be present here this afternoon, which tells me straight away that she's a very inclusive person. And this is a rare commodity that we have in our communities. And so therefore we should support her vision, support her aims and her objectives. I was nervous because I felt like a hypocrite. I've been involved with so many protests against the far right, where my own life has been threatened. I have spoken against ISIS, who also threatened me in my house. I have it alone. I've had to have security on certain occasions. I was nervous because I'm not a black person living my life through the lens of a black person, where at this present moment in time, it's a vulnerable time for people of colour, and especially our black communities. As we're healing from the death of George Floyd, last night in America, a black man was killed by a white police officer. As he was running away, he was shot in the back. This is a scourge on humanity. And I was saying to my friend just before that so before I agreed to Glenda's invitation, I spoke to one of my teachers and I said, Sheikh, what do I do? Do I speak at this event, or I just decline and say, look, I'm not a black individual, and there are many other black people who can speak far greater than I can? And he said to me, do you remember when you had a far-right racist who drove towards a mosque 4 years ago and killed an innocent human being, a Muslim? He said, what was your response? I said, my response was, I invited my friends from different communities to join in as an alliance of strength and solidarity. He said to me, the way you were feeling like 4 years ago when you were calling on people to support you is the way Glenda's feeling right now. And you should just say, I'm at your service. I'm at your service. There's an argument that people, upon hearing the words Black Lives Matter, they say all lives matter. I haven't heard of all lives matter before I heard of Black Lives Matter. Malcolm X came to elevate all lives matter. He came to dignify all lives matter. And all lives matter do not matter when we recognize that Black Lives Matter. And this, I can guarantee you, this is more than a vigil. We need us, all of us here right now, we're a garden, a beautiful garden of beautiful flowers. White, brown, black. All of us here. Why? Because we care for the dignity of the human being. We care for the dignity of the human being. And like I said to you, I've been threatened because when you stick up for, when you empower peace in your communities, you will gain enemies. You will gain enemies. And this movement, the Black Lives Matter movement, requires all of us to be courageous in the eyes of our enemies, because we're on the right side of history. We're not on the wrong side of history. And let me end by saying one more thing. When I gave my last talk in this vicinity, when the New Zealand attacks happened against my community, I gave a speech, and directly after that speech, I had some people come to my house, some police people, and they said to me that we've had some intelligence that your life is under threat. So when Glenda invited me today, I was thinking, do I go, do I not? Do I just articulate my voice on social media? And then, this is a miracle from God. My little boy, who's 4 years old, he came down and he had his t-shirt on. And on his t-shirt it said, "My father is courageous and brave and my sidekick." That's what he said. And I thought to myself, I'm not doing this for me, Nadeem, Ashman. This is more than who I am. Because when we go from this world, it will be our children who will carry on our legacy. Thank you very much.
Glenda. Glenda. Glenda.
Hello, my name's David Eaton. Basically, I'm here today because everyone matters. I want to talk about little Bobby Hutton in the 1960s, who was basically killed. He was 16, and we're talking about the Black Panthers, we're talking about the brilliant Black Panthers in the sense of the social projects that he did. Free food, free clothes, free education, and that's what frightened the establishment. That's why they had to shut it down. Because when people start organising, when people start saying the community starts taking all power back, that's when they start getting worried. And it's like the likes of like Bobby Seale, Huey Newton, and many others that stood against the fascists, stood against the brutality that was going on. And basically, this is what we need to do in case of community, organisation, empowerment, not relying on the institutions, but creating our own bases, creating our own voices. That's what I wanted to say today, and I wanted to talk about. Basically, this is not just happened, as my friend said, this is just not recent, this has been going on for so long. You know, in the case of little Bobby Hutton, shot by the police, they said it was in self-defence, but he had his hands up. You could see where the bullets hit, that he was running away. So, you know, this is what I want to say. Power to all, that's what I want to say. Thank you.
Hi everyone! Everyone's well. Right, basically, I'm gonna keep this short, but I'm gonna start off by saying Black Lives Matter. I would not be here today as a proud person of colour who's also a lesbian without black trans fighting for our rights to be who we are. So honestly, we need to step up and just give back and just do better. Just do more than sign petitions and stuff. We need to just bring solidarity and use our voices and everything to empower the voices of Black lives. So Black Lives Matter, Black Trans Lives Matter, and Black Women's Lives Matter. So thank you everyone.
Thank you. Anybody else wants to speak? It's good to see the black community here. Definitely 1 second. What was nerve-wracking for me today was, because I always remember it's about being authentic. And I don't think I can get any more authentic than being who I am. I said before, I didn't think where my parents came from affects me, but it does. Affects our children, our grandchildren. We're going to have another grandchild soon. But I really, really want to reach out to anyone who has a voice. I said it last time, I'll say it again. It's your breath. Don't let someone take it away from you. That's why I believe you came here. It is scary, even I'm scared. But if you've got something to say, it's healing. I find it healing. Just come step forward. It helps me and I'll help you. All right.
Bless. I'm going to tell you my name at the end. I'm a black man, so my life matters. I go out every day and I feel anxiety. When I see people walk past me and frown and side look, especially the police. I've been discriminated, I've had racial slurs, I've been excluded and I've been oppressed. But you know what? I smile and I believe in hope and belief. I'm British. You know, I just tell you the truth. I think that's your stuff. My mother brought me to be a strong black man. Now, I don't care what this world throws at me. It's a tough world. I don't expect my life to not matter. For me to go quiet, silent. You know, recently my nephew who's 14 years old at the grammar school on a Zoom class was called the nigger. No one picked up on it. He don't want to say anything. So right here, right now, I fight for him. I fight for our future. Because without us, there ain't no future. You know, hate, racial hate. You know, human beings, man, we have a flaw, stupidity. You know, this lockdown has amplified people's true colours. You know, kindness, loving, the NHS, people helping each other, community. That's what I believe in, diversity. I don't see colour. You know, we all come together as one. And I believe our national debate is about what is racism? How do we describe racism? From my point of view, it's the power to exclude and oppress. To say, that person cannot go in there. No, you're a woman, you cannot do that. We've been there, civil rights. 1965, the Racial Relations Act. We never followed through with it. We need to go through with this. Full motion. We've been here before. Stephen Lawrence, the McPherson report. So where are we today? Is this a cycle? In 30 years' time, is our children going to be standing here doing this? I hope not. Please, you guys in Preston are the future, and it starts today. I believe in anti-racism, and I believe in coming together. We can only do this together. You know, we need to hug each other, to stand by side. Ain't nobody in front of me, we're all side by side. And I bless the people for coming here. My name is Mustafa. I've been discriminated because I'm a Muslim, and I've been racially abused because I'm black. Drop the mic.
Thank you for not dropping the mic.
Yeah, 1 second, this gentleman here first.
I just got the one.
Well, I can't top that because I was just, but it's weird because like you look around and everyone's wearing masks, you can't see another person's face, but it doesn't matter. Like I don't have to see anyone's facial expressions to know that everyone here is together. Everyone here is one people today, and they care. They care about this issue that shouldn't be an issue, but it is. Morgan Freeman said the only way to stop racism is to stop talking about it, and I don't agree with that. I don't think we can stop talking about it, because if you stop talking about it, then you just sweep it under the rug. You have to keep going. You have to keep loving, and you have to keep fucking... every time.
Sorry about
The
that.
conversation can't stop, the ball can't stop, and the can't stop rolling, and you just got to keep going and going.
The video just got X-rated.
It's not big anymore. And I'm just going to say, I love everyone here, and that's what that's about.
Thank you. Thank you.
Hello, my name is Bob. And I just want to say that all lives matter. It doesn't matter if you're black, you're white, you're yellow, you're Muslim, you're Christian, you're whatever. We're all human beings. Okay? We all live together on this earth, created equal by God. Okay? God said in the Bible, we are all created equal. He does not see us as black, white, men, women, Christians, Muslims. He doesn't see us that way. So why do we see us that way? It's ignorant to turn around and say, you're different. You're lower than me because your skin is black. Where does that come from?
I think Winston Churchill.
It's not right.
It was Winston Churchill, wasn't it?
And it disgraces me sometimes to say that I'm part of the white community that treat other people this way. It hurts me in my heart. Because all people matter. We all matter. People say, oh, they use excuses. Say, oh, blacks are drug dealers. Blacks are criminals. Blacks are that. Well, let me tell you what, I know a lot of white criminals too. I know a lot of white drug dealers too. Okay? You don't got to be a certain color to deal drugs on the street. You don't got to be a certain color to go rob somebody. Okay? That's a choice. That's an ignorant choice people make. And all people of all colors make those choices. We can stand here today and make a choice and say, I don't want to be part of that. I want to see people through the eyes of God as equal. Not, he's white, he's black, he's yellow. No, that's a human being, that's not right. Okay? That's a human being, that's my sister. Okay? That's what it should be about. It's about love, not about hate. That's what I want to say today.
Thank you. Thank you. As I've always said, everybody has a voice. And I understand it can raise some things inside depending on who's speaking. So, as I always said, I believe everybody has a right to speak. And this gentleman wants to say something. Give a round of applause.
Give her in the house. Oh, I'm a traveller. Yes, I'm a gypsy. Yeah. We are being discriminated against. There's good and bad in everybody. Do you understand? There's good and bad in every man that walks the earth. Do you understand? Yes? Not a black man, an Irish man, an Englishman, white man, whatever color, race, or creed you are. You understand? Nobody is any better than anybody else. That's what I gotta say. Nobody is any better than anybody else. You understand? The gypsy community is being discriminated against, left, right, and center. Yes, for nothing. For nothing. Yes, the traveling community is being discriminated against, left, right, and center. For nothing.
Like you. So, son.
Alright, is that how you finish?
Listen, madam, when we came to this country, yes, I'm looking you straight in the eyes. When we came to this country, they said no blacks, no white, no dogs. Remember?
I think there's no Irish.
No Irish. I remember. Well, I don't remember, but I do remember. Thank you. I understand where you're coming from. He's saying we're connected. Doesn't matter where we come from. And just like black people
connected,
are
you don't
being
like that
oppressed
mic.
and injustices, so do the travellers. And we must also remember that as well. Okay, because it is our actions, it's our behaviour and how we treat people. And it's good that people can share that. To speak. No, he said he came to speak for everyone, not just for gypsies.
I'd just like to say I'm really nervous. I just wanted to share I believe a multi-ethnic, multi-racial, and multi-purpose society will only achieve longevity through the practice of sympathy rather than subjugation.
Thank you.
Hi everybody, my name is Maddie. I teach languages at UCLan. I want to start with why I decided to come despite lockdown. I'm ashamed, I have to say, as a white person, that I've lived for 25 years and never come and stood up for what is right. And I believe that it is right that we come and stand against racism today. Hearing about what happened to George Floyd and learning more about how this is not unusual, I began to think about my students and my friends who are members of the black community. And the thought that people could harm them simply from the way that they look is abhorrent. And I want to help stop it. And I think everybody here feels that way, so I'm pleased that everybody's here. The only other thing I want to say is, as a bit of an introvert, the way I want to help, I want to come out and protest, and I will do more and more when lockdown eases. I will. But I also want to educate myself. We've talked a bit today about how we need more education in schools about these issues, and that's absolutely true. But we can start with ourselves by reading about these issues, reading about the history, reading Toni Morrison, reading Bernardine Evaristo, to name just a couple of names. So I just want to encourage everybody. Everybody here is intelligent and loving, and you can help by reading and educating yourself. Thank you. And thank you to the organisers of this protest. I really appreciate the opportunity.
Yeah, I can just look and I can see someone wants to speak.
Thank you. Hi, I'm Adam Clayton. I study architecture at course I'm the sound. So, sorry if I don't articulate this as well, I have anxiety. But under my studies, we obviously look into history of the UK and the West as a society. And we boast about how we are supposed to be a diverse melting pot of cultures, how it has enriched our lives, and yet today we stand and we have to speak out for those who face oppression for that very fact. And one example of, I'm really sorry, it's not like I was one example of how our society has been saved almost, I suppose, was after the Second World War, how the Windrush generation came over here, in many cases by choice, and has essentially made the NHS possible. He's essentially rebuilt our country. And how does society thank you? They discard you after they have seen you of past your use. And I can't stand here, I can't not come here and support you after what you have done for our country and previous generations. We can go on, and I'm sorry, but we'll be here forever. I'm sorry I didn't articulate this, but thank you for what you have done for this country.
Thank you. Is there someone else who wants to say something?
Hi, I'm Lee. I want to start off by saying that I'm a member of the LGBTQ community.
LGBTQ.
And it's my belief that anyone who has ever been picked on for something that they can't change, it is their duty to stand up for others as well. And I've always tried to be vocal, but recently I realised that I wasn't doing enough for Black lives, for anyone really. And it's not just everyone else talking that makes me want to talk, it's the people that stand against it. Because I have heard my own family members say, well, you have to accept that other people have other opinions. But to me, Black Lives Matter isn't an opinion. People's lives should never be an opinion, it should be a fact that they do matter. And I'm lucky, I've lived in a bunch of different places growing up, and I've met a lot of different people from different backgrounds. But growing up in Chorley, my school wasn't the most diverse. And yeah, I was picked on, but some of the things that I saw, especially white boys in my year, I saw them treat this one black kid so different to everyone else, and they picked on him and no one stood up for him. And then I still have those people on Facebook, and I've been, sharing a lot to do with Black Lives Matter. I've been sharing a lot of real footage. And these people, they've not changed. So I've noticed that people don't tend to get less racist, they just get better at hiding it. And that is a problem with our country. So, Black Lives Matter, that's all I've got to say.
Thank you. Someone else? Chris? Thank you. Thank you, Chris.
Chew. 1, 2. Thank you very much, Glenda, and thank you very much to everyone for turning out here. It's genuinely unbelievable to see so many people here uniting for the one cause that genuinely affects us all. The last time that I was here, I kind of just spoke off the dome, so I just decided to put a few points together, and hopefully we can start joining the dots. So we'll start in America, because that's kind of the reason why we're here, right? George Floyd, that's the reason why we're here.
I'm going to try and get it there.
We can add Rashad Brooks to this executions list.
Hopefully.
David McAtee was demonstrating.
Oh, you can still hear it.
Breonna Taylor in her own home. George Floyd in the street. They just sound like names for each one, had a family and friends. They had hopes and they had dreams just like every single person here.
Keep listening.
They were shot for being black. The right media have tried to reshape the narrative on George Floyd by highlighting his criminal past as if this is some kind of justification reason for executing him in broad daylight. By focusing on his crimes, this in turn reinforces deeply embedded negative cultural stereotypes which the white supremacist media gleefully sound for their dog whistle puppets to action and to troll us and to clickbait us from the actual point. The point that we're here. We're here for the movement, for the people. George Floyd wasn't a saint, but no human deserves to die like that. He was the catalyst for the resistance, to mobilise, strategise and lobby MPs in the fight for justice and equality. That's the whole reason why every single one of us is here right now.
Thank you.
So now I wanted to address a couple of national issues.
Dave Ferguson's here.
And I'm going to frame it through the prison or opiate of capitalism.
Great speech from Dave Ferguson last week.
Cheers. Capitalism and Politics is a song that the extremely wealthy white folk love to hear. They love to hear that song. But the song isn't a song without a band and a singer, right? These are the politicians. They are the band and the singer. Capitalism and politics itself is the song. So when the song gets boring, i.e. people start to lose money, they don't change the song, they just change the singer. Racism is about class. Having no economic base leaves you more susceptible to racism, to quote the great Akala. It's 3 years ago today that 72 men, women and children died in Grenfell Tower. Some families of the deceased family members are still waiting to be rehoused. There have been and still are large calls to remove dangerous cladding from every high-risk residential building, yet there's 2,000 that are still covered in that, and there's 300 that are still coated in the same aluminium composite material cladding as Grenfell. Does any of this sound like a surprise, or are we getting hip to the problem now? Health is a massive issue. In fact, there's 4 other issues I'm briefly going to talk on before I hand the mic over, because I do work that I've been talking for quite a while. So it's the health, Windrush, policing and work. So health, we all know it's a risk to be here. However, it's important we need to share what the government say and what they do, and in particular, what they vote on. So last week, the government published a long-awaited Disparities in Risk and Outcomes of COVID-19 report to tell the BMEA community, or BAME, that's it, community is what we already know, that we're likely to get it, and we've got higher death numbers, etc., etc. It's cool, we get that. However, it contains no guidance to protect the community. In fact, it took the guidance away. 7 recommendations over 69 pages were removed by this government, which evidently could have helped prevented unnecessary suffering and could have saved lives. This is the government, our government right now, have done this to our community. the risk of dying from the virus is between 10 and 50% higher for BAME communities than it is for white Britons. So why are you taking stuff away that will help our community live? In regards to the Windrush, the UK Human Rights Watchdog has launched a legal bid to review the Home Office hostile environment policy. During the first year of the Windrush scheme, only 60 people have received compensation out of the 500 million that's been allocated. Only £360,000 has been paid to 60 claimants. £500 million. Shocking.
Yep.
Sitting in limbo is not an isolated incident. This is a trawler net full of injustices. Many were sacked, deprived of the benefits that their taxes helped to pay for, evicted from their homes, and literally sent back to a country they didn't even know. How inhumane can a policy be, or to the point, the humans who devise and implement these rules? One, Theresa May, who devised the policy, lost the job as PM at being pretty shit at most things, but managed to get another one to continue her shite work in her safe white seat. The other, Amber Rudd, who implemented these hideous practices, misled MPs about having files related to the Windrush generation, that the Great White Lie caught up with her, and poor Theresa had to sack her. However, she quickly regained her job with Boris's eugenics club to continue the good work on her until her moral conscience on Brexit had her leave. So she was morally compelled to leave the government on an issue regarding Brexit, but she was quite happy to hide documents pertaining to the Windrush scandal. That's correct, right? These are the people that govern us. We need to wake up. Policing. David Lammy's 2017 report said black people are 4 times as likely to be in prison given the proportion of the total population, i.e. black is 3% of the UK population and there's 12% of black people in prisons, for sure. According to the government's own Black Caribbean ethnic stats, black people are twice as likely to die in police custody. This is the killer one. To date, there has been 1,743 deaths in police custody or otherwise following contact with the police in England and Wales since 1990. How many police officers have been charged or prosecuted for these deaths? How many?
All of them. All of them?
Not a single one.
You don't say. Never. You don't say. Not one. Not one.
I'm going to finish on this. Real eyes, real lies. Thank you.
Yeah. Thank you, Chris. We realise every single day I speak to people affected, impacted by the Windrush scandal. A lot of people don't even want to come forward, and I don't blame some of them. Why should they? But we want people to come forward because if you have been impacted and you're still suffering, you need to talk to someone. And you can talk to us. Is there someone else who wants to say something?
I'm nervous, so don't laugh, please. All I wanted to say is the UK is not innocent, and I've got some names to read and we will remember them. Sarah Reid, Mark Duggan, Liam Briggs, Joy Gardner, Cherry Grace, Christopher Alder, Ricky Bishop, Sean Rigg, Derek Bennett, Smiley Culture, Brian Douglas, Leon Patterson, Kingsley Burrell, Roger Sylvester, Jimmy Mumbenga, Michael Powell, Cynthia Jarrett, Ezella Rodney, Farag Adley, Dimitri Fraser, Raz Judah, Gillian Cole, Adrian Thompson, Jean Charles de Mendes, Nazir Mohammed Daly, Delian Atkinson, Trevor Smith, Rocky Bennett, Alton Manning, Ashton McLean, Senny Lewis, Anthony Granger, and so many more, and we won't forget them, and we want justice.
Nice one.
So can I ask after
You need to share this.
I'd like to hear, and I'd like the whole of Preston to hear, say my name. 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 Black Lives Matter. 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 Black Lives Matter.
With a break.
Thank you.
Come with a break.
Good speech.
Hi everyone, I came here last week and I took the knee because I'm a nervous public speaker and my leg will start shaking. So today I'm going to take a seat. To do this, I'll have to drop a CM Punk pipe bomb on you all. How many people here have heard of the name Shukri Abdi? That's shocking. There's another name, I'm not going to say it, I've muted it from my timeline, I never want to hear it again. But it's of a little white girl that got lost in Portugal. From now on, I will refer to her as she who should not be named. Shukri Abdi was a 12-year-old girl, schoolgirl. She was brutally murdered by her classmates in a racist hate crime. Investigation was closed nearly months after, and it's not getting reopened. We need to make this change, and I urge all of you here to do your research on who this little woman is and sign the petitions. I've been hearing many what ifs in this situation. What if she who should not be named was black? What if Shukri Abdi was white? We can't do this, there's too many what ifs in life. What if Hogan, Scott Hall and Nash didn't go to WCW in '99? What if Harry Kane squared it to Raheem Sterling against Croatia? We must focus on the present, and now I urge you all after this, if Glenda would be appreciative, so everyone get your phones out and sign the petition for Shukri Abdi. Thank you.
So my notes are written down. I normally just speak from whatever comes out, but
paper and pen. White paper, black ink. The ink is black, the page is white. Together we'll learn to read and write. That's something that I was taught when I was a child. If everything was white and the text was white, your page would be blank. You wouldn't be learning anything. If everything was black and all the page was black, the page would be blank. You wouldn't be learning anything. So together, we must learn. We must learn from the killing of George Floyd. We must learn from the history of suppressing people of colour for centuries. I'm going to kneel down, okay? I'm not going to kneel down for 60 minutes. I'm not going to kneel down for 60 seconds, okay? I'm just going to kneel, and I want you to see my knee on the floor. The NHS were held up for 10 minutes over a period of 10 weeks. That is 600 seconds. The world came out and applauded our NHS, and rightly so. For 548 seconds, and I'm not very good at maths, but I'm guessing that's 52 seconds less than people coming out to applaud the NHS. For 548 seconds, George Floyd had some policeman kneeling on his neck when George Floyd was trying his desperate breath to say, "I can't breathe." So if you think that 600 seconds is long enough to appraise our NHS, 548 seconds is far too long to suppress somebody. We have been suppressed for centuries. Centuries. Now, all of you, probably, when you were at school, you may well have been asked, what do you want to be when you grow up? I see a little girl there in an orange top who's probably asked when she goes to school, what do you want to be when you grow up? I wanted to be an actress when I grew up. That was a dream that I had. You might have wanted to be a footballer, or you might have wanted to be a school teacher. Whatever it is, your dreams that you had when you were a kid and you wanted to grow up, and you hold on to that dream. But you know what? You soon realise that if you are particularly a person of colour, the chances of you realising your dream are pretty small. When I got to 15 and a half, I had a careers advisor come into school, as they did back in the day. I don't know if they do that now, and he said to me, what do you want to be? And I said, I want to be an actress. And he looked at me, he may as well have laughed in my face, and he said to me, people like you aren't actresses. You know, you want to get yourself a job in a factory. And I'm thinking, okay, but I want to be an actress. Can you please advise me how I do that? He didn't give me any advice at all. He gave me no encouragement. He then said, why don't you go to college and do hairdressing? Okay, so I went to college to do hairdressing. And any of you who've been to college and you go down that vocational route, not the A-levels, I'd never heard of A-levels. Okay, so I went to college to do my vocational training, and you have to go and do work experience. And my teachers would get us all work experience, and I got my work experience in a hairdresser's on Plungington Road, and it's still there to this day. And I did my first day of work training. And when I went back to college the following day, I was told that I could not go back and do my work training anymore. My work placement was not available for me. I was the only black girl on that hairdressing course. I was the only girl who did not have a work placement. Now, I didn't want to be a hairdresser, but if I did, I would have been prevented from being a hairdresser. Yeah? I went on to eventually study law, I studied law at UCLan. I was taught by all white tutors, bar one guy from Sri Lanka. Everybody else was white. And we were all told that when you leave university, and I went on a grant, because I'm telling you now, if I didn't go on a grant, I would not have gone to university, because I could not afford to go to university. I was 26 when I went to university, and my daughter, who stood here somewhere, was 4 years old, and I had to sort that myself. When I got a grant, I was fortunate. And then they told us, when you leave uni, you've got to go and you've got to get a work placement. And then if you're lucky, you could get a training contract, and then you can qualify as a solicitor. So I left university, I did all my studies, I did pretty damn well, because I worked hard. Could I get a work placement? Do you think I could get a work placement? I couldn't get a work placement. I couldn't get a work placement. I then went to work for the Racial Equality Council in Preston, because that's the only place I could get a job dealing with immigrants, dealing with people who are considered to be down at the bottom of the pile. I then went to work for a law firm in Preston for a very short period of time, and they will remain nameless. And I had this supervisor who was to teach me how I was going to be a solicitor, and he called me into his office. This was a part-time judge. He was a white part-time judge. He said to me, "Come and sit down." And I went to sit on the chair. He said, no, you need to sit on the floor there, because I'm going to teach you how you can be a solicitor. You need to learn from base. Sit on the floor. He threw a pile of papers on the floor, and he told me to pick them up and put it in order. How the hell am I supposed to learn? Yeah? That's what life is. That is what life is like for anybody of colour in particular who wants to achieve something. Sorry. I guess what I'm trying to explain in my not so very eloquent way is that around me I had glass ceilings. I was taught about a glass ceiling. We now see our children in glass boxes. Yeah? Dave Williams, I read his post, one of his posts last night, and he was having this discourse with this person who was saying, Preston's a peaceful place, there's no racial hatred in Preston, you're stirring stuff up. Why are you causing trouble in Preston? And Dave was trying to have this conversation. You need to stop going out, you're provoking people. You know, slavery was abolished in the 1800s, you need to move on, you need to get on with it. And I thought to myself, can you imagine gay pride, and you're walking down and you're cheering at the fact that you can now be free, and someone comes to you and says, you need to stop that protesting, you're causing so much trouble. You know, you're allowed to marry your partner, you're allowed to have a gay partner. You're causing homophobia, you're causing it, you're creating a problem. No, I'm sorry, you're a homophobe, you're a racist. I am not causing anything. It's already there. And when you tell me that slavery was abolished 150 odd years ago, why do I feel like I'm still in chains? Why am I still in chains? Why are you treating me like it really does matter? Slavery may have been abolished, but slavery continues to this day. We are still in chains. The other thing I wanted to mention was when we look at the abolition of slavery and the compensation that the slave masters were given, okay, and the word the slave trade, to me it has a very particular, it's kind of almost romanticising the fact. In slave trade, you were taking people from their land, you were stealing people from their land and separating them from their family. You are trading in human beings, and we're going to compensate you for your loss. Did you compensate the slaves? Did you compensate those people who lost their livelihood? Did you compensate those people who lost their history? When I go to school and my teacher asks, when my daughter goes to school and my teacher asks my child, can you do a family tree? And as she can do me, as she can do my mum. She's very lucky if she can do any grandparents. You know why? Because we don't know who they are. Because we don't know who they are. When you asked me to do a family tree, I feel, when I asked my dad, I said, Dad, who is your dad and mum? And he said, oh, it was Mr. John. And I went, and who was his dad and mum? And he looked at me, and I could see the pain in my dad's eyes, because my dad didn't know who his grandparents were. Because when his grandparents were children, they were picked. And I asked myself, I'm sorry, I'm going on, I apologise, but I asked myself, why do they pick so much on the black man? Why is it the black man that comes at the very bottom of the pile? And do you know why? Because the black man is strong. You're strong. And beautiful. You're caring. And when I say strong, I don't just mean physically strong. I mean you're strong, because if you were not strong, you would not be here today. They would have eradicated us. You are strong. So they make you out to be a criminal. I watched 13 last night. If you ever get a chance to watch 13 on the 13th Amendment, watch it. Because what it does is it takes these slaves and gives them their freedom, and it takes them back into slavery, because it labels them no longer NIWGR slave, it labels them criminal. And if you're a criminal, we can chain you up, we can lock you up, and we can keep you where you need to be. I hope this doesn't stop. I hope this momentum doesn't stop. It really mustn't stop, but we need to ensure that the education system is overhauled. The guy who talks about those at the top wanting to keep it in that way, they do, because if the people who go out marching the fascists actually realise that they're being used as pawns, you're just a pawn. You know, look back and look at your own education. You're being used and you're doing the dirty work for those above. We need to change the way that we're educated so that we can learn about the positives of black, white, brown, or in my vocabulary is peach and brown. But ultimately, we really need to keep this going, and we need to really do something to instigate real, long-lasting change. Thank you.
I tend to always ask this question, what time is it? Are we all right to carry on?
Got half
Are
an
we
hour.
all right to carry on? You all right?
Got half an hour.
Got the lovely Preston.
Are you going to put them in?
Thanks, Glenda. Good afternoon, everybody. Thanks to Glenda for asking me to come and say a few words here today, because as you can see, we're trying the best to make this movement end, but just the fact that you're all here today means that it isn't. I'm going to try and keep it brief, because I know there's a lot of other people that want to speak as well. A couple of things that have been on my mind though. Has anybody seen the documentary that was on the other day, Sitting in Limbo? Yeah? All based on a true story. I've got another true story for you. This one goes back to roughly mid to late 70s. A good friend of mine was basically on his way home from a place that used to be a Preston called the Caribbean Club. Cut a long story short, on his way home, he saw a police bike pull up to him. In them days, they were all the Nortons. This policeman pulled up to him, raised his visor, asked him who his name was, what he was doing. So he just answered what his name was, and he said he was on his way home. In between the time that happened and him getting another 5-10 minutes up the road, a van had pulled up. Policeman had about 6 or 7 in it. They arrested him. They pulled him in. They took him down to the police station, which used to be right there on Lawson Street. While he was in that police station, it was basically full arrest. Your shoes come off, you take off your laces. Anybody who's been through that, which I would say I'm one of them, you'll know what you go through. But then the thing that happened that really surprised him, This officer came in to see him that was all of about 6'7", 6'8", he said. And this officer intimidatingly walked right up to him, turned around and said, "It was you, weren't it?" He said, "I don't know what you're on about." He said, "This guy with his boots stamped really hard about 2 inches away from his foot," which, bear in mind, he had no boots on, no trainers on at the time, so he could quite easily have broken his toe. So it was obviously his intention to intimidate him. They left him. About 20 minutes to half an hour later, he reckons. They let him go. But not being happy at his treatment, he thought, "I'm not going to settle for that." He went straight back to his youth club where he knew that there was, as they used to call in them days, youth activists. And he knew that this guy would do something about it. So when he told this guy, he took him straight back down to the police station. He went up, asked for the duty sergeant. When he got the duty sergeant, he explained what had happened. This guy's just been arrested. We want to know who was in the cell with him. The duty sergeant opened the book, read through it, and said, "No record of him. He hasn't been here." So basically, he didn't have any way of proving that what had happened to him. Now, that stuck with me, because going back to sitting in limbo, back in the day, we didn't have cameras. We didn't have any exposure. Pretty much like he did. There were no street cameras, so there was no way of him actually being able to prove what had happened. And that made me think, because I'm sure something like that, the rage, it spreads to everybody. And when I say everybody, this has gone beyond being just a black thing now. The fact that everybody is here, from every dimension and race that I can see, that means that it means something to everybody. So I thought, well, all right, how can I make a difference? When you feel like you're one man against an army, which I'm sure is a feeling that's shared by plenty of you, what can we do that will make that difference? And this is what I keep trying to tell my daughter now. 2 things stick in my mind that we need to be able to make some sort of an effect on. One of those things we can each do individually. Believe it or not, we can have a massive impact. The second thing is going to take what you see here now, and that's unity. What happened back then in the 70s, if that would have happened this day, there's no way they'd have been able to hide that. Because the one thing that we can all do individually, is the exposure. We need exposure and we need accountability. If we had that recorded, if we had the films, if we had the videos, there is no way they could have turned around and lied to say that it didn't happen. So the one thing that we need, the one thing that every one of you kids have that we never had, Brad's is with me, we went to school, Julie, all those of our age, we didn't have phones, we didn't have cameras, we didn't have any way of proving what's going on. And that's one of the reasons why, to me, there's a secret hero in all of this that's been going on with George Floyd. And that is the man or the woman, I'm not sure, who had the courage to stand there for those nearly 9 minutes with the camera in the face of those police, even though they said, "Go away." They said, "No, I'm not going away. I'm filming every second of the shit that you're going on with so that the world can get to see what's going on." Every one of you have the ability to do that now. We never used to be able to do that. So the one thing that we can all do individually is the exposure. Have the courage. If you see something going on, you pull your phone out, it's going to make them think twice now. They're going to try and tell you to put it away. You can tell them, "Oh, yours." Because at the end of the day, they can't stop you from filming it. And if everybody does it, they can't stop everybody. True? Secondly, with that, then we can talk about the accountability. Because pretty much in the same way now, as we've seen and as everybody has spoken that has said, they'll just find some way to try and either kick it into the long grass, meaning keep it out there until everybody forgets about it, or they'll do their best to try and ignore it. They can't do that if everybody gets on the streets, as we've been seeing for the last 2, 3, 4 weeks. We will make them accountable simply by the amount of people that reject that kind of nonsense that's going on and say something has to be done about it. So in our little way, in my way, the way that we can make a difference is just that. We can't do it all individually, but individually we can all expose them for what they're going on with. We come together and unite like we are doing, trust me, we will make them accountable. Yeah? Thanks for listening.
Nice one. That was Ted Ferguson, man. Funny enough,
We've
last
got one
time.
left now, so if there is anybody who really wants to say something, please come forward. Anyone else?
Yep.
Thank you.
Hello, my name's Amelia, and I come from one of the most culturally diverse cities in the UK. I come from Birmingham. Right? And so obviously I'm not from around here, but I'm so empowered and impressed by the people that have come out today and by the love that everybody in this city has for each other. And the fact that we have all come out today and we have all stood together. And we all come from different backgrounds, we all come from different places, from different socio-economic statuses, we all come from different places, and we are all here today because we all love each other and we all want the same opportunity.
That's it, girl. That's it. Keep going, keep going. Keep going.
Because we are all here today. Because we no longer want the people of colour to feel afraid in the white neighbourhoods. Because we want people of colour to feel loved and to feel safe in their own fucking country.
Fuel. Oh, fuel.
And we are all here because everybody matters. No matter where you are from, we are all British and we all fucking matter! I'm here because as a white woman, my voice, I have been told by people in my town, in my city, in my country that my voice is more important than yours. But it's not. We all stand together and we all should fight because as one voice, as one community, we are louder than nobody stood alone. I love you, I stand with you, and I support you.
Wow, bless you. We're with you. We're with you. We're with you. We're with you.
I just want to say from my city to yours, I want to say that Black Lives Matter, and we stand with you, and we love you.
Thank you. Thank you. Can you hold that, please? Dave. Okay. Okay, so we're without a mic at the moment.
Yeah, we can still speak.
But we can still speak. So is there anybody who'd still like to speak?
It's fits you.
I know I'm here because I feel incredibly let down by our government right now. Because our government are not taking responsibility at all. Boris Johnson is coming out and saying that this country is not racist. He is one of them. He is one of them people. And he is making it okay for other people to be racist in this country. And that is not what this country is about. And I, for one, will not stand by anymore and watch this government just think it's totally okay for racism to exist in this country and be so ignorant to the fact that it is when they are part of the problem. I'm fed up of the amount I I am seeing on the internet this week of people going, Black Lives Matter is making people racist. No, this is showing people's racism in this country. It is a massive issue and it has always been a massive issue. And people going, oh, our country's getting destroyed for one life in America. That is not the case at all. This is not for the case of one man. This is for the hundreds and thousands of people that have suffered because of people like Boris Johnson, who think it is okay for racism to exist in our society. In his own words, racism is not accepted in this society. Let's start with you, Boris, because you are making it okay for this country. I cannot believe, I have never been so ashamed to be British as I have this week, seeing the disgusting behaviour and the disgusting attitude of the people in this country. We are all the same person. We should not be having to fight for people's basic human rights in 2020. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Again, I'm just going to keep, someone said to me the other day, oh, you're encouraging people to speak. I'm not encouraging you. I'm just saying, if you came here and you got something you need to say, you need to get it off your chest. And it's an opportunity. I only come here because I'm asked to come here and support you who want to stand with those who've been fighting this for a long, long time.
Thank you.
Okay.
Absolutely.
No, seriously. I'll always say, we always feel alone, you know? Children are bullied. People are bullied. But it matters even more when it's because of the colour of your skin or where you come from or your religion, etc. So again, if you need or want to, don't leave if you want to say something. Don't go home because you'll regret it. All right?
Oh,
so
yeah.
come forward. Does anybody else would like to say anything?
While they think, let me just
While
say,
we,
if you don't mind,
one sec.
Yes?
And then either we'll have a break, all right, and then we'll wind up, all right? But have a think about it, and I'm going to let Adam say some words.
Well, it's not touching on where I spoke about earlier on, but it's just, I've been living in America for like 20
Nice one, Simba. That's funny. Okay, listen, I'm going to